I don't know. What was your reaction to the Ravens falling as 7-point favorites to the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah, well, Joe Burrow returned from injury, delivered a poised performance, while Lamar Jackson looked erratic and uncertain in a game where a win carried a lot of importance. And, I don't know what's going on with Lamar. Maybe he's suffering a little bit from those injuries he had, but he sure doesn't look like himself lately. And they've gone from a team that had a terrible defense and fixed that to now one where the offense is falling apart. They aren't passing the ball well, and they aren't running it either. The Bengals snapped the Ravens' 5-game winning streak with Burrow throwing 2 second-half touchdowns. The Ravens lost 3 fumbles in the first half and had 5 total turnovers, 2 fumbles and an interception by Lamar. Fumbled TD by Likely. That was amazing how he managed to do that. And a fumbled pass catch by Flowers. Flowers also had a TD catch wiped out by an offensive pass interference. So you could argue that the Ravens beat themselves a little bit, but they did lose 32-14. That's a pretty big differential. Derrick Henry only 60 yards against the NFL's worst defense. What happened there? Fewest points allowed by the Bengals all season. How's that happen against the Ravens? First, it was the Ravens' defense, as I said, that was the problem. Now it's their offense. You look at Lamar, a very pedestrian performance, 17-32, 246, no touchdowns and an interception. Derrick Henry, as I mentioned, 10 carries, 60 yards, 1 touchdown. Why do you only carry the ball 10 times? We know what the formula is for the Ravens winning. They need to give Henry the ball at least 15 or 20 times to soften up the defense and keep the other team's offense off the field. Likely had 5 catches for 95 yards, but he had that terrible bobble there just before he went into the end zone. Ended up being a touchback. They lost their chance at 7 points there, and Andrews had 4 catches for 47 yards. You mentioned Burrow's stats, not elite, but they were good enough, and you could see the Bengals were motivated by having him out there on the field. Brown had a good game, 15 carries, 78 yards, and Chase, so he's building up a pretty good season here now, despite having nobody to throw him the ball for about 9 weeks. 7 catches for 110 yards. The Bengals, there's an outside chance they could get back in it.
Oh, I'm already there. I really think there is an opening here for the Cincinnati Bengals to capitalize, especially with the team playing as well as it did in this game. We're talking about a defense that was number 2 in points allowed over the past few weeks, and all of a sudden, Joe Burrow in his first game back, first of all, looked great. Turf toe, he was running all over the place, not wincing a single time. He looks fully healthy. He even took a couple runs, a QB sneak or 2 as well, so he was putting himself in harm's way, and he seemed absolutely fine. But yeah, no, this is a classic Todd Monken, what the hell are you doing type of a game, because as I've pointed out, again, I don't hear many people talking about it, but the data is out there. When Derrick Henry rushes 15 or more times, you have basically a 3/4 shot at winning the football game. And this one, he had 10 carries. What are you doing? In the second quarter, Baltimore opened the second quarter 7-3. The Bengals had the ball. So even if you want to say, okay, well, that drive ended in a field goal when they opened the second quarter, that drive ended in a field goal for the Bengals. Okay, 7-6. Ravens still winning. What did the Ravens game plan say? What did Todd Monken draw up? 12 Lamar Jackson dropbacks, 0 Derrick Henry runs. What are you doing? That makes no sense. You have a guy who's 240 pounds, who barrels through people like they're nothing, and you didn't hand the ball off to him a single time. To me, that makes no sense. And what did you do? You put the ball in Lamar's hands over the past couple weeks, which has been largely ineffective. There's something weird with Lamar going on over the past few weeks. He just doesn't look right. He's not running very fast anymore. He's throwing a lot of overthrows or just completely inaccurate passes. And we had a game where Lamar dropped back 38 times and had 10 Derrick Henry rushes. This was a horrible game plan by Todd Monken, but we've seen this repeatedly. We've seen this since he got there. The biggest one for me was you're going up against, in the AFC Championship game a couple years ago, you're going up against one of the worst running defenses with the Kansas City Chiefs. They were like a top 3 pass defense. And what do? You run with the running backs, I think it was 6 times, and you throw the ball. You put the ball in Lamar Jackson's hands, and you just throw it a bunch. the score ended up being 17-10. Kansas City wins. But all you got to do is hand the ball off to this guy who, by the way, scored a touchdown in the first quarter already. So it's not like he was ineffective or not running very well. He was doing a perfectly fine job. And I'll give credit to where credit's due. The Cincy defense did a great job at limiting Lamar Jackson, and here's the big one for me, capitalizing on turnovers, because you could have a turnover all you want. What about scoring on it? Because then the turnover is basically nothing. It's just a change of possession and another change of possession. Joe Burrow and this team, they kicked a lot of field goals. If you had Evan McPherson on your fantasy team, I'm sure he put up a bunch of points this week. And Joe Burrow did look very, very rusty in the first half. He had, 32 attempts, 15 completions or something like that? I mean, do you want Joe Burrow throwing it that many times in the first half? I don't. But in the second half, 14 throws, 9 completions, 96 yards, and 2 touchdowns, a 124 passer rating. So he got into rhythm very nicely in that second half. And it also helps when you're able to run the ball, you gain a lead. And also I'll say this, the last 3 meetings, Joe Burrow and the Bengals against the Baltimore Ravens, I could add context all day. The defense for the Cincinnati Bengals was so bad. And also you have a rookie punter taking a snap and you give the ball to Chase Brown 3 times when Joe Burrow was lights out in one of the games last year. And all of a sudden, Derrick Henry breaks off for a 50-yard run. They kick the game-winning field goal. In the last 3 games, Joe Burrow, 1,081 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, 1 pick against the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Burrow has never been the problem against these Baltimore Ravens. And finally, the other side stepped up. The offensive line protected them like they were, an iron curtain. I mean, no pressures whatsoever. Joe Burrow looked relatively comfortable behind that offensive line, which hasn't been great throughout the year, and at one point was one of the worst and the worst offensive line in the NFL. And here's the big one for me, the shocking one. The Cincy defense was tremendous. I mean, the play, Isaiah Likely reaching for it, and you have, the wherewithal to smack his arm, which then he fumbles out of the back of the end zone. I thought that was a tremendously well-executed play, a very smart play. And the big one is just capitalizing on the turnovers. When you have, a 5-1 turnover differential, that's when you're going to win games here. A lot of fumbles, a lot of bad plays. Lamar threw a bad pick. I just think that this was a great game for Cincinnati. And by the way, without Trey Hendrickson still. So they're able to do this, sack Lamar 3 times, pick him off, a number of fumbles lost. They did a tremendous job. This was full Cincinnati Bengals football.
The other thing I'll say about your comment on the Derrick Henry not getting enough touches in the game, even if he doesn't get huge runs, he softens the defense up. By the fourth quarter, if you've pounded them with Derrick Henry for 20 carries, and you get into the last 5 minutes of the game, the defense is gassed.
Nobody wants to tackle him at that point.
Nobody wants him at that point. He's an amazing athlete.
Yeah.
He still has his juice. So that's another reason to hand him the ball more. It made no sense. I don't understand it at all.
Well, think about this. Against the New York Jets in that close game, down 7-3 at halftime, you still give the ball to Derrick Henry much more. You ran it 21 times and you only had 64 yards, 3 yards a carry. It didn't matter, though, because you handed the ball off to a guy who's 240 pounds, and, in the fourth quarter when you need a play, who else are you going to give it to? The New York Jets did not want to tackle Derrick Henry when all of a sudden their lead was slipping and ultimately ended up, getting blown out by 13. So I completely agree, and that's the big thing. Derrick Henry's yards per attempt go up massively in the fourth quarter, and that's why. When you keep pounding the rock with him and he keeps barreling into guys in the fourth quarter, and normally you're losing pretty badly at that point, you don't care anymore. You don't want to tackle him anymore. You just want the game to be over at that point. In this game, you had opportunities. The Bengals had a very good third quarter, but they didn't need to have this massive, think about it. They had 2 drives in the second quarter, the Baltimore Ravens did. 12 throws, no runs with Derrick Henry. And on that first drive, you were up 7-6.
Yeah, they got to relook at that. And, they think that Harbaugh has got to sit down with the offensive coordinator and work something out here because they managed to fix their defense. It's a shame that now the offense is kind of crumbling.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unfortunate, but this is kind of what the Baltimore Ravens do in some of these big-time games. They don't play into their strength. Their strength has always been, since Lamar Jackson got there, run the damn ball. They were a number 1 running team for 4 straight years. Then Todd Monken got there. The passing game, Lamar's passing game improved. But in the AFC Championship game, it was, let's just put it on Lamar. It went back to Superman Lamar which was his rookie year in the playoff game and against the Titans that first time, where he was doing everything. That's not a recipe for success. We've seen that from Josh Allen. When he needs to go Superman for a season,
it's time for Harbaugh. Hopefully Harbaugh's listening to us. And he ain't
going to change. It's Todd Monken.
Get with Monken and tell him, look, guy, you got to run the ball more. It's a 60-minute game. Let's do the first half. Let's run the ball a lot more.
Well, even then, in the second half, don't lose the ability to run.
Right.
Unless you're getting blown out, then obviously you need to throw it. But if it's a close game, play into your strength. To me, this made no sense. But the Bengals defense played an incredible, 60 minutes of football. Joe Burrow was very rusty early. I'll also add this to wrap it up. We saw the Bengals offense sputter a lot, and I think that could be due to T. Higgins being lost, because then you were targeting Mitchell Tinsley, who struggled massively. 8 targets, only 2 catches. He had 2 drops in this game. He did not play very well. Joe Burrow tried to get him the football a lot. It just ended up not working whatsoever. He forced the ball a couple times.
Worked pretty well with Jamar Chase.
Yeah, 14 targets, 7 catches, 110 yards. I wish I got a touchdown, but, I went to Tanner Hudson and Andre Yosavash. So I think that, there's an opportunity for the Bengals to capitalize on this and continue to win football games, because if we take a look at their schedule real quick, and I do think there is an opportunity for the Steelers to lose a couple games, for the Ravens, if they keep playing like this, to lose maybe against the New England Patriots, who they play in a couple weeks here. But the Bengals, they play at Buffalo. Buffalo has no running defense. So if you're able to run the ball effectively and enough to use play action, and, again, I'll have to figure out T. Higgins'
let's
status
say maybe
exactly.
they win that game.
So if they win that
next?
They play Baltimore again. At home, though. Are we saying that there's a repeat performance from Cincinnati?
That's going to be tough, man. They're going to be pumped. The Ravens, they're going to be mad that they lost that game.
So we'll say they split. At Miami.
They should win that one.
Okay. Versus Cardinals.
They should win that one.
Versus Browns.
They should win that.
So they go 4-1. Now, I think that you will need to win out.
Then they'd be 8-9.
Right. I don't know if 8-9 wins this division or lets them into the playoffs, because if you look at Jacksonville, they're 7-4. The Chargers 7-4. Buffalo 7-4. Now the only way is you do beat Buffalo. Then if the game late in the season, you could have that 8-9 tiebreaker to make it to the 7th seed. But also to realize, Chiefs have 6 wins as well. Houston 6-5. Baltimore right now 6-6.
My thought on the Bengals is their path is not the wild card. Their path is to win the division.
Well, that's what you need. I
think that's easier. I think winning the division is easier.
I wish Joe Burrow played against Pittsburgh, because that's the big one. I think you swapped with Pittsburgh. So, because Joe Flacco had that crazy game, the 40-year-old versus the 41-year-old, and they were trading blows back and forth, and then you get blown out by 22 points a couple weeks ago. I think if Joe Burrow played against the Patriots would have lost, because it was 26-20. The Patriots looked
I know.
Weird.
I would think the Patriots are lucky that Joe Burrow was not in that game.
Yeah.
One thing, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
They did something to Burrow's shoe. They put a carbon fiber plate in it.
Okay.
So that and he obviously was not feeling it. Maybe he had a shot or something too. But
could be.
But his foot was fine. Why wouldn't everyone wear a carbon fiber plate to prevent a toe injury now? Those toe injuries have cost a lot of players a lot of time.
Well, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, right.
Brock Purdy had
all
an
the
issue
time
there.
he was out. So why not have some more preventive stuff? And I see these guys with this thing over their
Guardian
helmet.
cap.
The Guardian cap. Why doesn't everyone have to wear one of those?
Because there are some helmets that are as effective as a Guardian cap. So like Tua.
Well, then why does a guy wear a Guardian cap? It looks crazy. Why didn't they wear
Romeo
the other
Doubs
helmet?
Does that.
Why don't they wear the other helmet then?
I'm not sure. Maybe there's some.
I think everyone.
Differences?
If there's a helmet out there that's as good as that Guardian cap, then everybody ought to be wearing it. Maybe they are. Maybe that's true. I don't know.
Maybe it's preference.
But I think that some of this preventive stuff is something they should explore more, especially the toe injuries.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what's interesting. We've seen a lot of turf toe. I mean, Lamar was dealing with a foot injury, and maybe that's what's affecting him now. I don't know, because if we saw Kirk Cousins, he came back, when he first started with the Falcons, last year, when he was coming back from his Achilles, he didn't trust his legs. He didn't trust, getting hit or getting hit low. So you see his footwork was off. He was doing a lot of inaccurate passes early in the season. And so people were wondering, okay, what's wrong with Kirk Cousins? His footwork looked off. He didn't trust it. Brock Purdy, there's some differences in the way he's been throwing the football, especially against the Carolina Panthers. There were some weird things. Anticipation was off. Footwork was off. There wasn't enough juice on some of those footballs. Underthrowing a lot. So could that be a case? Joe Burrow looked great. I think that this was a motivation game, I think, to make an example, to be like, we're 7-point underdogs on Thanksgiving night. This is my first game back. We still got a shot. And I think he stepped up big in this one to get a big-time win.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching this clip of the Harvey Hour. If you want to watch the full show, you can by clicking the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to take the show with you on the go, it is available wherever you get your podcast. We go live here on YouTube every single Tuesday and Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload a video and whenever we go live.